Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to the channel. This is one of the most interesting things that I've heard of in the last couple of days. So, Kamala Harris, the former vice president of America, apparently in her new book, she blamed the gentleman you see before you, that is Andrew Tate and Myron Gaines, for losing the so called male vote or young man vote. Now, of course, it's the usual claims they've made about the manosphere and all these men centered channels. But let's listen into what actually this claim was in her new book. So let's listen in on what she actually said and what these two gentlemen think of it. Please subscribe to the channel and let's get on with it.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Bro, that's an epic find. That's a flex. Generational
Yo.
lifetime W for you two.
Yeah, no, I was actually on live and someone sent it to me and said, "Hey, did you know that you're mentioned in her book?" And I was like, "What?" He was like, and he sent it to me and basically she was like, "Well, yeah, these two guys like took away the male vote from me and in her book and stuff." So I was like,
I really don't understand this current brand of politicians. It's like they do not know how to take L's. I think for a very long time, a lot of these so-called the left-leaning types, the woke, the feminists, those types, for a very long time they've had to say a lot of crazy, stupid things and do a lot of corrupt, stupid things, and they were encouraged on and sometimes even incentivized to do that. Now, the problem is they were doing it at the detriment of young men, especially men in general, but young men have not had the opportunity to build anything or gain that much knowledge and information that they would need to have at least an opportunity to do so while they're growing. But that has been curtailed. Of course, single motherhood, all these things. It has basically had this effect where after a while, when there's plenty, people start to discount the important things and people and ideologies and principles that got them there. But when they start to realize that things are going bad, they'll never take accountability. So they try to turn it around to, oh, the men are not trying hard enough. What has happened is the men said, the hell with it. We're just going to give this orange man our vote. And the hell with you people, because very quickly you realize that you're not liked. No, nobody really wants you to succeed that much, at least in the powers that be, especially these people who call themselves progressives. So as it is right now, people say the hell with it, and they're just following whoever they want. These two gentlemen, three, including Tristan Tate, are part of that group of men that are being followed.
"Yo, this is crazy."
And to realize that a politician has noticed that that was an effect, that all this content we do that are male-centric actually had a huge effect. We are affecting the culture and the way people are thinking towards now at least restoring some balance. Because the problem, people think that people want to go out there and oppress women and what we don't really concerned like that. We want to restore balance so that we are able to build without having all these ridiculous rules and regulations and bad habits and bad people always being put ahead of the people who are trying to build. Anyway, let's continue.
I was like on stream, and so they said it to me, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And well, number one, I was shocked they were even reading that book. But I did hear from people that she was going to release this book, and that she had like some criticisms for releasing too much information. It was just really interesting. But yeah, dude, like it was just nuts to see. But that era, looking back on it, like that was the censorship era. Like that was one of the worst eras ever when it comes to censorship on the main platforms. Making masculinity a bad thing. It was just a completely cucked period.
They had been demonizing masculinity for a very long time, but that's when it really came to bear on us, especially when you wanted to say I remember really, we have to thank Elon Musk for buying X. I have to be honest with you. I did not see a very bright future in terms of being able to just express ideas and think through things and do work. It was either you're going to ever to be woke, You have to be a feminist, any of these progressive types, or you get nothing. Or they take things from you. It was getting ridiculous. And I'm happy. I'm happy that culturally the effect we are having is going to continue. Because that's what this means.
Completely cucked, bro. And there was only a few of us who were riding against it. One of the things I don't like on Twitter now, because it's cool to be conservative, all these conservative bros write their long tweets about how important it is that you love your wife and you cuck to your wife and you need to love your wife. That's all they talk about. And it's just like, bro, during the actual culture war, none of you people even piped up. You all sat still and shut the fuck up and took your thing because you were scared. It was only us two and maybe 2 or 3 others who were really gunning and riding and charging at the gunfire and suffering for it. Tristan and I were in Romania, which is a very corrupt country, so they caught us. Luckily, you were in America. But bro, they would have got you just the same. It was all a setup. It was all bullshit. And we were fighting against the entire matrix, the whole system, the censorship apparatus, the legal apparatus.
It's always strange that, when the powers that be go after someone and they don't get them, you always wonder, because if they take your phones, they check your accounts, they look at your taxes, they look at everything, and they didn't find anything to put these guys in jail. What does that even like? Sometimes you gotta have to just be logical. Because I see a lot of people, but I don't agree with everything. Like, who agrees with everything anybody says? For me, I'm doing a cost benefit analysis. Is somebody a net positive or negative? These people are obviously a net positive. But we have listened to a lot of crap from the mainstream media that we are automatically find ourselves sieving people through their own standards that they've arbitrarily set that they don't follow themselves. So this is, I do such videos also because we are trying to expand our thinking. If you think you're not going to look at the politics of how you live and whatnot, you're mistaken. You have to understand how these people think because they affect your everyday life, how you work, the laws, business, whatever you're in. You have to understand it, and so that you're able also to take full advantage of it.
The mainstream news, we were fighting against all of it, just us sitting here with our big mouths. And it turns out Kamala admits that we moved the needle. That is a flex, bro.
I was like at a loss for words.
That's
I was
a
like, oh,
serious
damn.
flex.
But, that just goes to show, well, number one, how out of touch a lot of these, Democrats or progressives or liberals are, because for years they had ostracized young men, right? If you guys remember that Gillette commercial from back in the day where there's like, oh, is this the best a man can get? And Terry Crews, that big cuck, he's over there talking about like, men need to hold men accountable, blah, blah, all this other bullshit.
I get so angry when I see those guys virtue signaling. They're being paid or specifically saying those things because the people who pay them think like that and want them to say those things. It's not because they mean it, but after a while it becomes them. Because a few of these people do come out and say, oh, I was thinking this way and that way, but those are the few honest ones who are like, yeah, that was a lot of nonsense. I'm happy that I got over it, because you can be lied to, you can be manipulated. But when you find out that you've been lied to and manipulated and you double down, you have a big problem. And that's the problem we have these days, where no accountability is given. People are given excuses for doing some of the worst things on the planet.
Like, these guys don't understand that this type of content exploded in popularity because men have been ostracized from society for so long. Yep. Like, women have been able to be incompetent, rude, not respect authority for literally years. And then finally, guys like us came out and said, yeah, bitches are stupid. They're like, you probably should have listened to them, right? They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. It's like, but it's like, it took us saying women are for people to say, you know what? You're right. Women are right? You're saying they can't drive. And people are like, wait, every time I got hit by a car, it was a female driver. These guys are right. So all we did was connect the dots to things that people already knew. And we were able to help these guys, like, step up. Now, thankfully, I would argue, like, young men nowadays are more based on, like, I'm a millennial. I know you guys are millennials too. Like, our generation, it was cool to be a leftist or whatever. At least these young guys now, right? They're figuring out, like, no, being on the left is good.
Yeah, our generation was super. So they are based. So where do you think the world's going? What's going to come next? We won this big victory, and I felt like we won, and in some ways we've won, but we're still kind of stuck in the mud. Do you know what I'm?
Now, let me take over from there and mention something. The victory is never totally won. You always have to protect your wins. If you win something, you move that step forward and you don't move back. That's how you collect wins. There is no one decision or one event that will solve everything. The problems have been stacked up for so many decades. Now, I wanted to speak specifically to these people they call conservative bros. These are more the religious inclined family, whatnot. Fine, you know. It is all well and good. It's the best system that's set up to bring up children. But the problem with them specifically is that they expect men to continue giving and sacrificing. But they have not looked at the things in society, the laws, the culture that has made it very difficult that even sacrificing for family is no longer worth it, that many men are not doing it. They have refused to address the family courts. They have refused to address the working environments, how everything is feminized. They have refused to address the education system. How do they expect the men to continue sacrificing when they realize that people don't actually want them to succeed? That a woman, however mediocre, will be placed above them. Now, evolutionarily, sorry, according to evolution, there's a word I wanted to use there, but my tongue is too heavy. Now, according to the way we have evolved, it is quite easy to see that the person who's valued most in this setup is women because they're the ones who bear the children. The survival of the species trumps all your feelings. So it's to understand that for whatever sacrifices you are giving, you must get some requisite feedback, at least appreciation, so that your sacrifice is worth it. That's all it is. Whether you like it or not, one man can impregnate half this world if he wishes to. If they can take the sperm of 10 men, they can impregnate the entire female population. That's why we are not as valuable for that. We are valuable for many other things other than that, unfortunately. Sometimes you have to think things through because you have to look at how people behave and not just think, oh man, life is against me. Sometimes life is against you because of your positioning. And if you don't do the work to improve it wherever you are, it's just going to treat you that way. No one cares because you're not as valuable, unfortunately. The next man will pick up whatever you've left and continue. If he's great, he will do great things. If he applies themselves, they are going to do great things. So let's not cry about a lot of things. You can see here, if we decide to do things, we do them if we want. This group, and maybe at most, maybe if I say there are 20 or 30 different people that were messaging the right way that has shifted people's thinking, especially young men, it doesn't take many people or a lot of effort because a great idea and something that works will always trump a bad idea that has all the resources. It doesn't matter how long they've heard it. All these decades of feminism and indoctrination in schools and whatnot, and still at the end, the basics come out and people say, no, I'm not going to follow that. And it turns on its head. This is a small victory, in my opinion, the fact that all these big, powerful people are actually recognizing this. The thing is, they knew all along, but they kept on trashing it because they knew that it was not going to be to their advantage. But beautifully, because this video is very long, but I wanted to pick out this particular important information and see what we can do with it. So continue working, continue informing yourself, continue building yourself. Whatever station you are, it doesn't matter whether you are at the bottom, you're starting nothing. If it's information, find it. If it's new skills, learn them. Continue to inform yourself and know what's going on so that you can do better. Yes, today is one of those days for motivational speeches. Otherwise, I don't know what you thought about this video. Please leave your comments down below, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, peace.